at the royal taping of Pajama Life as we review this week Queen Charlotte. Ta-da! My ancestor. I'm just gonna call her Auntie. And Knock at the Cabin in like Shyamalan's new movie about something. And then A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks. But I couldn't do it, these reviews, without my two best buds as royal subjects. We have the Duke of all things Star Wars. Say hey to the people, Patrick.
Okay, I'm the guy of Star Wars now, so I didn't know I got promoted, but okay, sure.
All right.
David, say hey to the people.
Hello, everybody. Whoever we are, I'll be playing the role of Patrick today, where I'll be desecrating Marvel fandom as we know it, because I don't know nearly what he knows. Great to be with you guys today. I expected we'd have a little bit more conversation about the world's great monarchy that still reigns, and we shall continue. Here we go for another episode. So buckle up, everybody. Here we go.
And we have the Marquis of Marvel. Let's say hey to Patrick. Say hey to
now you were a Duke, David? Were you?
That's what I was called.
Okay,
I wasn't
the
Duke.
Prince of all things.
Because
Marvel and Tony.
well, then I definitely outrank you then. So I was just trying to figure out where we were in peerage there. Hey, everybody. Great to see you. I'll be playing the part of David, where I will tell you why Star Wars is the best thing ever, and the last three movies were absolutely fabulous.
All right.
Off with their heads. That's where we go.
Now she's the Queen of Hearts. Okay, here we go.
Talk about Queen Charlotte. Let's take a peek.
With a lift, I believe I can make it over the garden wall.
You want me to lift you over the wall so you may escape?
I'm a lady in distress. You refuse to help a lady in distress.
I refuse when that lady in distress is trying to go over a wall so that she does not have to marry me.
George!
Much like a phoenix rising from the ashes, so too our queen rises from disaster.
I need to know what is going on at Buckingham House.
Assume the reason you need that is so that Lord Bute believes you have the situation in hand.
Your marriage is the business of this country.
Crown resides within me, embedded like a knife.
We need to know whether the laws of succession on their side will apply to our side. Does he inherit the title?
Okay. I'm going to go first. It's my royal privilege. I love Julia Quinn's series, Bridgerton, and I was glad that Shondaland was able to do this little spinoff from the books and some historical fiction. And I think what I enjoyed the most, which is not talked about, is Black peerage in England during that time, of people receiving titles and the question of whether or not those would be descended through their line. That was a really fascinating discussion and an interesting look at, of course, this is all historical fiction, but it is based on some facts about what went on back then. And I mean, just the acting in it. Okay. The Queen's wigs were absolutely incredible, gorgeous. It's such an interesting take on African hair into the crown and into these Regency styles. And so that was really, for all of us who look like me, that was really something to really see. But also, it's an interesting story about dealing with a family member and loved one's mental illness, which was certainly taboo and certainly taboo for any kind of royal person to have. And so that was a very interesting look. And just so many of the dynamics there were really well done, and the acting was great. The story was really interesting. So it's definitely something I highly recommend. David, what did you think?
Well, I really enjoy the acting. Certainly, I love the costumes in the period piece. So that's something. As a history major, I do enjoy that piece of it. I loved its opening. It's like, yeah, it's kind of based. It's historical fiction. We've embellished it. We're just going to roll with it. I thought that was cute beginning and typical for your Bridgerton piece.
Yeah.
But so is it fun? Yeah, watch it. Go binge that. Get some popcorn. It's a neat little thing. Now that said, let's just take a moment here. Going back to last week, for all of our audience members, and I know we've got folks in part of the United Kingdom, and I'm always representing something UK, but not that UK.
Yeah.
I would like to say thank you to our special relationship allies across the pond for the Magna Carta, again for defending the world against fascism during the Battle of Britain, and of course, and we've in the pre section of the show you haven't seen, we were talking about Doctor Who. So on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for Jenna Coleman. But enough of the monarchy. God bless Queen Charlotte, but down with the queens, down with the kings. Well, Queen was a great band, so let's give you that Queen, England. We like that. But man, I am sick of the monarchy. Bad timing with Prince Chuck, King Chuck here.
I think it was awesome timing.
I think it was a great timing. The only Duke that matters is the Duke of Earl. Duke of Earl.
Not the Earl of Sandwich.
That's right. It is. And hey, thank him every time you put some meat between those good pieces of rye. But fun show, bad theme, down with the monarchy, whoever you are. But fun show to watch.
Oh, okay, Patrick.
Wow, that was an enthusiastic introduction. Thank you so much, Pam.
I know what's about to happen.
Well, okay. Let's start out with what I liked. The costumes and the sets were gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not too hard to hit those notes because I mean, there's lots of historical precedents on what the costumes look like,
and
about
the cinematography too.
What their estates look like and everything. So I mean, they hit that right. That looked good. I mean, it was properly, as far as I could tell. 'Cause I did not live in the 17th century. After that, I'm like, oh, wow, this is the same thing as everything else I've seen that this person's done. Oh, gosh. Ooh. And I watched two episodes. And I was just like, yeah, I've got the flavor. I got to wash it out my mouth. Because I got it. I mean, it was just, oh, look, he doesn't like him. He doesn't like her. Oh, but yet there's 13 kids walking around. I'm like, okay. So apparently.
That's why you needed to watch it. You missed the whole point of it.
Watch it. I'm like,
that was a fascinating piece. I will say that.
And then I started thinking, okay, well, it's King George. And, if I want to watch something about King George, I'll go watch The Madness of King George, which was up for multiple Academy Awards. Much better, well done, as far as you want to see how real mental illness was. I didn't even know there was a mental illness component to this, but I was just like...
That's your fault for not watching it all the way.
Yeah, it's my fault for not watching trash. So you're right. You got me. I mean, historical fiction trash. Yes. It was, I mean,
send it to Bedlam.
I was
he must be crazy talking about this show like that. Send him to Bedlam.
I was okay with the fantasticalness of it, but it felt like Bridgerton Part 3, and I'm over it. I'm over it.
And that's why we have differences.
There's something new.
Yeah, okay. So, but one thing about Shondaland, which you can appreciate, is that they also, in all of their stories, highlight a gay or lesbian romance. And so, and usually those are the most stable of the romances in any of the stories. So I always think that's pretty neat of what she does in her stories and productions. And a little of a mixed bag here, but of course, as Queen, I am always right. So go see Queen Charlotte. And if you want something light and easy, but with some serious discussions of race and class and mental illness, I think embedded in the popcorn, definitely check out Queen Charlotte. Okay, so you really want to talk about something heavy? Let's take a look at Knock at the Cabin.
You have to come inside right now. They're strangers and they want to come in and they're scary.
It's okay. Listen, sweetie, what happened? What scared you?
There were 4 of them. The big one, his name's Leonard.
Suppose I'm here to make friends with you.
He says we had to help them. He says they have the most
important job in the history of the world.
But I'm afraid the 3 of you are going to have to make some tough decisions. Terrible decisions. And I wish with all my broken heart that you didn't have to.
The 4 of us are here because we're trying to save a whole bunch of people.
They're breaking in!
Ultimately, whether the world ends or not is completely up to you 3.
And whew, that hair was heavy. So definitely
weighs less by hanging.
So Patrick, talk about the Knock at the Cabin.
Okay. I M. Night Shyamalan, I think, really hit his stride back in the 90s when people didn't know what was coming up. I mean, because the twist was his signature move.
Yeah.
On everything, Sixth Sense. I mean, everybody watched that and like, oh my God, they had to watch. At the end of it, you're like, oh, the clues are all there. Same kind of thing. That was his thing, and he did it great. But everybody got wise to it. They know that he's going to do something twisty, and I thought this was interesting. An interesting concept. The fact that 4 people are sure they are the only ones who know this information, and they have to save the world because they have been somehow gifted with this information, and the world starts going to hell, and which you can see how some crazy person perhaps might believe that now. I enjoyed all the performances in it. I thought they were really good. The pacing was a little slow, but that is pretty typical of M. Night Shyamalan movies, except for the Avatar, which I assume he was broke and needed money for that thing because that thing was a real turd sandwich. But I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't spectacular. So I on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like somewhere around a 7. It was on the right side of the line, but it wasn't, really just ringing bells and making me go, oh my God, it's so good and total shocker. So, it wasn't terrible. I will endorse it hesitantly.
Okay. David, what'd you think?
Well, first of all, this man is in everything anymore. He's in like
he got a good
things we've been seeing.
He got a good agent now.
He really does. You know what's coming with M. Night, but you don't know what it's exactly going to look like. Yeah. So it's almost like the Hitchcock scene in all of his movies. Like, when is Alfred going to pop up for his little cameo? Where is that going to be? There's going to be like a little funny, oh, there he is. So you're kind of waiting for those there. I thought it was an interesting concept. It also speaks to just kind of the fear that we have today of, you think you're safe with your family, and then outside influences are coming to break in. And I mean, there's I see that kind of a commentary, I think, on today's scary, kind of the fear rise of of crime and whatnot. And I think you kind of see that a little bit in this as people are worried about home invasions. Yeah, I would see it. I would encourage people to see it. I'm a lot like Pat on this one. Don't expect to have an earth-shattering, summer movie, but it was good. It was good.
I guess I'm kind of feeling the same way. I guess I didn't know kind of what it was really about, and so got hit with, kind of a downer. It was much more of a downer than I expected.
Not a downy.
Yeah, and it was definitely well acted by everyone. Jonathan Goff also has the good agent too. He's in a lot of stuff from Hamilton. But I think that it's an interesting look. I don't know how much to reveal. I mean, it's been out for a while, so I feel like I don't know. Should I talk about the
You can sketch in general things about it, I think.
It's about the apocalypse and what comes with the apocalypse.
Right.
And can you make sacrifices? And what is a sacrifice? Do you save one or do you save billions? If that one is your family, do you save them or do you save humanity?
Like Thanos and Gamora.
And, yeah. So,
exactly.
and so, it was. I thought the way that they did each of the visitors. You had a nurse, you had a kind of mean person, you had someone who was kind of caring, and then you had someone who was nurturing. And I thought that was really interesting way to look at tales about the apocalypse. I don't want to kind of give it away, but I think the ending, I was kind of like, oh, okay. So I think that I tell you one thing it has going for it. It's not long. It's only an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. So I like that. I really did like that.
Story and got over it. Yep.
Yeah, you just had this story. It's based on a book, A Cabin in the Woods, A Cabin at the End of the World, I think. And so I might do a review to see what the differences are between the book and the movie. But it's a very interesting look at kind of apocalyptic drama. So it's kind of a mixed bag here at Pajama Life. So we do say go and check out A Knock at the Cabin for yourself. Okay, next up is the new Tom Hanks movie, also based on a book. A Man Called Otto. Let's take a look.
Get out of the car.
I'm sorry.
How you can make it this far through life without knowing how to back up a trailer? My God, a dog with one front paw and cataracts could have done better than that. And tell that useless boyfriend of yours to stop stretching his groin in public. You throw one more rock, and I swear I'll drop kick that little rat dog of yours right over the roof.
Feral. It's probably full of all sorts of disgusting diseases.
So are you, most likely. I don't throw rocks at you.
Are you always this unfriendly?
I'm not unfriendly.
I'd say you're a little unfriendly.
I'm not unfriendly.
You're un poquito
I am not.
No? Okay, you're not. No. You're not unfriendly. Every word you say is like a warm cuddle. It really is.
And now he's moved in. I have a cat.
Okay. I'm gonna go first. I did not care for it. Because there was, this is a caution, but they put it at the beginning of the movie. It is a movie about suicide as well, and grief and loss. And so I was not prepared for the amount of that in this movie. And so it kind of was like if they just did something once, then I think that could have got the point. But the multiple times, it just kind of just turned me off. And I didn't like it. So I mean, the acting was well done. Tom Hanks is hilarious in this. And the story, I think it stays pretty close to the book. And it was a monster hit over in is it Swedish, I think? In Sweden. And so it's also a movie, A Man Called Ove, over there too, and that was a monster hit, and I think it won several of their awards and was huge. I don't know. David, tell me what you thought of it.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah,
I did. I thought some aspects of this flick. I'm not bothered as much by the suicide stuff as you are, but I certainly respect that concern. There was a bit of it was like Jack Nicholson. There was a Jack Nicholson vibe here with As Good as It Gets about Schmidt. I mean, I see this grumpy old guy. Bill Murray played a similar character in it was Saint something or other with Melissa McCarthy in a dramatic.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I saw some similarities there with that story. But yeah, I thought it was well done. I'm not surprised it was a book with the depth that it had. Again, not necessarily for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Not even, and we'll talk about this, I think, next week more, where some of our summer fun movies aren't necessarily that fun. Spoiler for the future without making any references. Good film. He's a wonderful actor. I mean, at this point, man, he can put on just about any suit, any character suit, and he's believable to the American public.
Yeah, he really is. Pat, I take it from that you really liked it.
This is a wonderful movie. I mean, you know what? Was it happy? Kinda. At points, it was happy. I mean, the thing is, the guy was suffering, and he found another family. He was adopted into it. This was about finding a way out of it, is what I saw. And I mean, I could sit around and be worried about the several or the couple or however many it was attempts. But you know what? That's the way things like this really work. You know what? Acting and movies should be properly done, if they're properly done, a reflection of life to let you see a part of life that perhaps you never get to see. Now, do I know anybody who's committed suicide? Not that I'm aware of. But you know what? Maybe if I see how this works, I might feel better about or I might feel more equipped on how to deal with helping these people. This is what a movie's supposed to do. It's supposed to show you, put a mirror up to life, not. And don't get me wrong, I love Marvel movies, and there's nothing about them that's up to life other than maybe family relationships in the most broad brush strokes ever. Yeah. But this was a very well done portrait of a man who's in pain, and the only way he could solve this pain was to try to end the pain. But they found a better way. He found a better way because the people around him brought him into it. And you're right about Tom Hanks. Who would have watched this back in the 80s, watched Bosom Buddies, and thought that guy is gonna be the greatest actor in our generation? Yeah. But he is. Everything he's that guy could act in a insurance commercial and it would be amazing. Yeah. He just embodied that character. He had that grumpiness, but somehow he also got the approachability and the grumpiness at the same time. That I'm in pain grumpy. Not that I'm a terrible person grumpy. And that's a real fine shading that he went through with that. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. If I were giving it a 1 to 10, I'd give it a 10.
I don't know about 10, but he would fuss at people, but then help them, so it was like, and then like, okay, let me fix your this, or let me do this for you, or that. Now get away from me. I guess the biggest thing for him was somebody who was an idiot. And if you were declared an idiot by him, then that's it. Yeah.
I'd like a lot of old people or a lot of grumpy people.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that
like I
really
know
is.
people like that who are like, gosh, it's an idiot. You know, that was like the worst thing. Or there's a dumbass, you know, idiot or dumbass. If that person got declared that, they were useless.
But you know, it was a tour de force.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that nobody else can do the subtle shadings like he can. I mean,
yeah. Well, and I was shocked that he didn't get nominated for an Academy Award last year for it. I was really surprised.
Well, maybe they thought he had enough of them already. Maybe they're trying to spread it out a little bit.
Yeah, and
people take him for granted now.
Or he was nominated. Now I forget, for Elvis. Colonel Parker.
He was up for Elvis, and that was much worse than this.
And
His
so
portrayal was horrible compared to
that horrible accent. I was like, what the? But I think
accurate.
It is a very
yes.
Yeah, it addresses a very serious topic. And so I think if I'd have known that really going in, I could have been better prepared to watch it. I think, and that's kind of like what threw me so far off. And so
well, again, I feel that not being prepared is the proper way to watch this movie.
No,
because unless you're personally struggling with something, the thing is,
or you've known people who have done this, it's kind of difficult to kind of get through.
No one's going, oh, I saw that coming. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. No, it's always, what the hell? I had no idea I would have helped him. And that's the way the real world works. And again, let me go back to my previous comment about a good movie shows the way the real world works in an approachable way that you don't have to actually experience a loss, but you can empathize with this and hopefully identify problems or issues. I mean, if it's a real good drama like that was, that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's something that I don't know if it's enjoyable, but it's something that is well acted, and it is something that people can spark a discussion about, which ultimately is really good when you're dealing with a topic like this.
Well, and here's the thing. You don't know who's suffering. You don't know. I mean, he's grumpy, but he's lovable, and there's connections. And sometimes the people, you have no idea that they're suffering at all. I do know someone in the last year that took their life. Yeah. And I would have had no idea in my interactions, not in a million years. Yeah. That they would have. And so, be aware, be active, be open. I think that's another thing. And so see this stuff and, think about that. You don't know what the next person's going through.
Exactly. So try to be kind when you can. And be kind to watch Pajama Life each week. And tell a friend.
If you love The Crown, watch Pajama Life. If you hate The Crown, I've actually in the last 2 weeks, I've actually become anti-monarchy full hilt thanks to this show. Thank you, Pam. So if you're anti-monarchy, watch the show too. You've got both voices here.
Yeah, you sure do. You got a lot of flapping jaws. Pajama Life. And so for next week, we will view. I actually went back to the movie theater to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So we'll be watching that. We'll be watching the Netflix drama, The Diplomat, and the action thriller with Jay and Jenny from the block as the mother. So
I think it says the Ant-Man Quantumania on the little scroll.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That's the following week. Did I mess up? Okay.
No.
Guardian of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and the
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So it's a Marvel Fest. We expect Pat will have lots to share as the Marquis of Marvel. And David, with his history knowledge, will be able to very much chime in on the Diplomat. And as federal employees, we will really talk about what that's like.
That's right. We'll talk about Senate confirmation, C-SPAN watching, and of course, the all-important, you taxpayers, payment integrity.
That's right. No informal payments.
Some kind of a thing. Yep.
So much excitement. David, you got any final words for us?
Everybody, just have a great week. With springtime is here. Get out there, see a movie, see a loved one. Happy Mother's Day to those of you who have an opportunity to celebrate that. And we will see you next week with the Marquis of Marvel, and talk about these fun summer movies.
All right. Patrick?
I would also like to say Happy Mother's Day to anybody that's out there that is a mother or has a mother. So everybody had a mother at one point. So you get to say Happy Mother's Day anyway. So everybody gets Mother's Day. There we go. Also, for those of you that are video gamers, I know you will be nose deep in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because it is amazing. We don't do video games here, but holy hell, it's so good. Anyway, get out if you can. What you can with your Nintendo Switch and go sit out in the hammock and play video games. Yeah, that's happening now. So everybody go out and have a good time. It's good weather. Hopefully you're having good weather, and I'll see you next week.
And we will see you next time on PGM Alive. Take care. Bye.